Hey everybody, welcome into Faith and Football. My name is Neil, and guys, we're here. It's bye week time. Look, I already looked ahead, being a good host, trying to give you guys a heads up. Mageddon, the apocalypse isn't happening until week 12 and 14. Now, what does this mean for you? This means that six teams on weeks 12 and 14 are going to be on buys. Now, that's really late, and it comes right up to the last week to qualify for the playoffs. So make sure that you're looking ahead, and we're going to go over a little bit of tips and tricks that I've found to help me uh, to kind of navigate the bye weeks. We're going to be talking about injuries, of course, because it's Tuesday's episode. You're probably going to be catching this on Wednesday. A lot of key injuries, stuff to keep an eye on. Those of you who are Rashid Rice owners, myself in one of my leagues, um, sorry guys, it does not look good, and it's definitely something you're going to want to keep an eye on. Not only do I own Rashid Rice, not in the same league, but I also had Isaiah Pachenko, so I'm waiting on the Chiefs to get healthy here. It's really rough in the streets, you know what I mean? So I had an episode all written out for you guys. We were going to talk about a whole different subject matter than what we're talking about today. And ironically enough, when I was in Walmart picking up some cat food, uh, the Lord spoke to me and told me to go ahead and bring this message. So we're kind of taking a little different uh, look at what you're doing in your fantasy team with guys who are injured, guys who are hurt, guys who are underperforming. You know, those guys that you don't treasure as much as those high performers, those guys that you really hold close to you. And I know you're probably thinking, what kind of work could you get in Walmart? Well, I'm picking up cat food, and we have one indoor cat, and we have three outdoor cats that we picked up. Not well, they picked us up. They just kind of showed up, and we do have chickens. So, needless to say, anybody who's dealt with farm, not that we have a full blown farm, but anybody who's been around farm animals know that along with farm animals can come the possibility of mice. So I have no problem keeping the cats around to keep the mice population either eliminated or at least under control. And so far, thank the Lord, we haven't had any rodent issues since these cats have been around. So we take care of them, we feed them, but we don't buy them the good stuff. You know, we don't get bougie with it. We don't, get the really good stuff like the indoor cat gets. So our indoor cat is named Tink. And then we have three outdoor cats. Yes, we did name them. I'm not going through them all, but anyway, um, the three outdoor cats, they get food, like they get fed, they get taken care of. We watch over them. But I went to go grab the outdoor cat food. And as I'm walking down, I said, it's kind of like how we treat people in our lives. Um, the ones that are close to us, the ones that we treasure, the ones that we have some personal relationship with. We value them and their relationship with God a little differently than we do, say, the guy at the checkout line at Walmart or the guy at the gas station that you pay for your gas if you go in, or the server that waits on our table when we go out to eat. So these people are the ones who maybe we need to take a little bit more time with. Maybe show them a little more compassion than what we currently do. Because those are the people that we need to impress upon. See, the people that are closest, they're going to be closest. They're going to be around us. When Jesus was coming to the end of his earthly ministry, um, Mary, one of the sisters of Lazarus, she, or yeah, Mary, not Martha, Mary, she got some really expensive perfume, and or oil, and she basically bathed Jesus in this perfume. And the people, the disciples, they got offended, they got hurt, and they were like, "Hey, what are you doing with this? This could be sold for a lot of money, and the money could be given to the poor." And Jesus rebuked them. And what he said was, "You will always have the poor with you, but me you will not have." And what she's done will be talked about whenever the gospel is preached. So we always have these people around us that are our friends, that are our family, that are people that are close to us. So we're going to have a little extra time to kind of deal with them and their relationship with God, and be able to witness to them a little more, and a little more decisively, and more directly, a little more purposefully. But when it comes to the people that we see on a day-to-day basis that, we just bypass, we might meet once or twice, take a little extra time, be a little kinder. When you're at a restaurant and things are just crazy and you're waiting a long time for your food, show a little more compassion to your server. Show a little more compassion to that person who's taking your order at the fast food place when, maybe they've been having a hard day. You don't know. Yeah, you might have a hard day too, but the same way that you want someone to care about you, they want somebody to care about them too. They want somebody to show them some love, some compassion. So, I ran this by my wife, and she was like, it kind of sounds a little harsh. Well, here's the thing, is that I'm talking to believers. If you're a non-believer, welcome to the show. I'm so thankful for you. I'm just praise God that you're here, that you're listening to a faith-based fantasy football channel when you could have listened to anything else. So thank you. But for those who are believers, I challenge you, the same way that when Jesus was on this earth, he talked to his disciples harshly as well when they needed it. Now, I'm not going to be talking harshly all the time, and I'm not going to be calling you out all the time. But right now, in this moment, I want to bring you to Exodus chapter 32, verses 9 through 10. Now, this is God speaking to Moses. And he said, "And the Lord said to Moses, I have seen this people," in reference to the nation of Israel. "And behold, it is a stiff-necked people." Basically, they're stubborn as all get out. Verse 10, "Now therefore, let me alone, that my wrath may burn hot against them, and I may consume them, in order that I may make a great nation of you." Now, he had already told Moses that he was going to make a great nation, that he was going to lead this nation of his chosen people to the promised land. And now he's saying, "Hey, they're so stubborn. I'm so fed up with them, and they're complaining, that I'm just going to wipe them out. We're going to start all over again." Okay. And Moses says, "Hold on, don't do that." And he goes into a long list of stuff. Go and read from chapter 11 on, or verse 11 on, in chapter 32 in Exodus, and you'll see the whole conversation. But here's the thing, is that I don't believe that that was God's intent, because I don't think Moses talked God out of it. I think that God told him this to make him have compassion on a stiff-necked people, because Moses got fed up with them too. Moses told God, "Look, just wipe them out and let's be done with it." So they went back and forth. Moses was showing his human side, his frustration, his just anger, and just fed up with dealing with these people. Does that sound familiar? Look, we're in week 5. We're dealing with bye weeks, we're dealing with injuries, we're dealing with people who are underproducing. So our frustration level can get great. Maybe at home you're dealing with, the bills, and kids that don't listen, and in-laws that just get on your nerves. So, not that mine do, but that's another story. So, but just the everyday ins and outs. So maybe if we show a little more compassion to those who we really don't have everyday contact with, our compassion with those that we do will grow, and we'll get a lot of practice as we go through our day-to-day life dealing with, the guy at the grocery store, or the people in the parking lot that take forever, or the ones that walk down the middle of the aisle when you're trying to park. You guys know what I'm talking about. I want to bring up one more verse before we go into today's segment. Matthew chapter 12, or chapter 9, verse 12. These are the people that really need help. Okay. Jesus said, when he heard the Pharisees asking, why does he eat with tax collectors and sinners? And Jesus responded, those who are well have no need of a physician, but those who are sick are the ones that he came for. So the ones that are out there that are hurting, that maybe don't have someone in their life to show them the way, maybe those are the ones that we need to pay a little more attention to. I'm not saying ignore the ones that are close to you. Those people are important as well. But let's get a little practicing, guys. Let's get a little momentum going here in the showing people what Christ is in you. Because remember, if you are truly a follower of Christ, you won't need to tell anybody about it. They'll be able to see it. The fruit that comes from you is the fruit that is seen, not the fruit that you brag about. So just think about that when we're going into to week 5 and we're dealing with a whole bunch of stuff. It's how you deal with it. It's how you are able to pause, give it to God, let him deal with it, and be sensitive to the calling of the Holy Spirit. So welcome into the show. I hope that that wasn't too heavy for anybody, and I hope it was uplifting and enlightening, and maybe a little bit of a wake-up call as well. So listen, week 5, guys, it's bye week time. We're dealing with injuries, we're dealing with bye weeks. People are sitting at 0-4, 1-3. They don't want to be there. Now, here's the thing. There's a different way of trading. There's a different way of hitting your waiver wire, dependent upon what your need is and what your panic level is. So if you have guys, let's just say you have this one guy on your team. We'll take, for instance, Breece Hall. Actually, I'll tell you what, let's take Bijan Robinson. Now, Bijan has not been used really in the way that I personally thought he was going to be used. But what I did was I looked at his rest of season schedule. And here's the thing, is that his rest of season schedule is going to start to open up. Now, what do I mean when I say this? Is that if you look on Sleeper and you look at his rest of season schedules, week 1, 2, 3, and 4, all either orange or red. Now, what does that mean? That means that he is facing a powerful run defense when he goes up. Now, what does he got coming up? He's got a week 12 bye, so he is part of the bipocalypse. I didn't dodge that bullet, unfortunately. And also this week, not only am I losing Saquon, but I'm also losing Tony Pollard. And I'll show you how I dealt with that in just a minute. So coming up for between now and week 10, he gets Tampa Bay, who's been able to be run on. Carolina, who's absolutely horrible. Seattle, if any of you saw the Monday night game with Seattle, I'm telling you right now, that game was a track meet. Okay. And they were scoring all over the place, through the air, through on the ground. It didn't matter. So Carolina or Seattle can be run on. Then they get Tampa Bay again. Then they get Dallas. Dallas is absolutely horrible against the run. We saw it this past week. That's all he did was run. Or actually 2 weeks ago, all they did was run. So when you see teams like this coming up, take heart. Don't lose hope and just stick in there with the guy that you drafted to be great in the first place. He's going to pick up the pace, he's going to get better. Okay. You drafted guys high because you believed in them. Now, if you got guys who are underperforming like drastically, that's a different story. Okay. If you got guys like Patrick Mahomes, now I talked about this in the last episode, if you remember, and the Ballers had him as a trade away candidate. That's right. They were talking about trading away Patrick Mahomes. Look, he's got a lot of name cachet. Everybody has this preconceived notion that Patrick Mahomes is a great quarterback. They're not lying. They're not false. Yes, he is a great quarterback, but he's not a great fantasy quarterback this year. Now, they lost Rashid Rice. They lost Isaiah Pacheco. They went out and got basically Kareem Hunt off his couch, brought him in. They've got CEH, Clyde Edwards-Helaire, coming back this week. And they might give Carson Steele another shot after that fumble that he had this past week on the one carry that he got. So if you played Carson Steele, I'm sorry. He got you negative points. But look, this is where we're at, guys. The running back position has been decimated with injuries, and the wide receivers are no strangers to injuries either. Now, we did get Debo back this week, which put Jauan Jennings in kind of a secondary role. I do recommend that you keep a hold of him on your bench if you can afford it. If you can afford to hold on to Jauan Jennings, great. Because I don't see Debo making it through the entire season unscathed. So, let me show you guys real quick about looking into the bye weeks. Okay. Now, for the bye week, this week is going to be Tennessee, Philly, the Chargers, and the Lions. In Tennessee, you're probably, like me, losing Tony Pollard. You're losing D-Hop. You're losing Calvin Ridley. Now, Ridley hasn't been doing a whole lot in the past couple of weeks, and D-Hop did have that one great game 2 weeks ago, but Will Levis is dinged up. They have said that he is definitely the starter. He is their guy. So I don't know how much confidence you have in that because Will Levis has been playing horrible. So you're losing all of your Tennessee guys. And then in Philly, of course, you've already been dealing with the loss of Devontae Smith with concussion. You've been dealing with the loss of AJ Brown with his leg injury. You're going to be missing Saquon. You're going to be missing Jalen Hurts. You're going to be missing Dallas Goedert, who is the number one tight end in fantasy right now. How crazy is that? That's just nuts, guys. With the Chargers, look, the only guy you were probably playing, you might have been playing J.K. Dobbins, and you might have been playing Ladd McConkey because of injury. But those guys are out this week, so you're not going to be playing them. It does give Justin Herbert an extra week to kind of get better, get his feel back, and just basically get healthy. So we're hoping that happens because we definitely don't want to see the backup in LA with the Chargers right now. Okay. You're losing the Lions. And if anybody saw the Lions and the Seahawks on Monday night, like I said before, it was a track meet. Jameson Williams off the chain. Now, he only had a couple of catches, but they were for like 80 yards and a touchdown. It was unreal. Then you got Jared Goff, who has just been on point. He set the record for most being perfect in a game, in the game without an incompletion. He went 18 for 18. Now, he didn't have I don't think he had over 300 yards, but he had a ton of touchdowns. So, Jahmyr Gibbs, David Montgomery, Amon-Ra St. Brown, all out. So you guys are going to be losing them. These are things that you need to be looking at a week ahead of time and making the adjustments then. That's what you call playing chess, not checkers. You want to be looking down the road at least a week ahead of your opponent because nobody else is going to be doing this. Okay. So, in that spirit, we're going to look at week 6 at who you're missing as well. You're going to be missing the Vikings. What does that mean? That means Sam Darnold, guys, then he's playing out of his mind right now. Justin Jefferson, going to be out. Aaron Jones, running back for the Vikings, going to be out. With the Rams, oh yeah, Kyron. Look, guys, he's about the only thing on the Rams that's in kind of a guarantee right now. So if you have Kyron Williams, you're gonna need a little depth at the running back position and somebody to match up against that. Make sure you're looking at your lineups and at your matchups. Check your waiver wire. See who has a absolutely fantastic matchup that week. If you're a part of the Foot Clan and you're listening to this, hey guys, welcome in. I appreciate you. If you guys could tag the ballers in this, I'd really appreciate it because I'd love to get their feedback on this. But anyway, the strength of schedule tool on the ballers is absolutely phenomenal. I love it. It is a can't do without type tool. So if you haven't already, please go and subscribe and join the Foot Clan. We'd be more than happy to have you in. The Chiefs, they're going to be out now. This is great because we're going to have Isaiah Pacheco on his bye week, which puts you one less week that you have to deal with it. Okay. Now, he's not due back until about week 10 or 12, which is awesome for those of you who have running backs or need him in a flex spot for By-Mageddon on week 12. He's going to be coming back. If he comes back in week 10, he'll have 2 weeks before By-Mageddon, and that will be awesome for your lineup. Then we have the Dolphins. Look, guys, I wish that the Dolphins would do something at quarterback because they're killing me with Jalen Waddle. Anybody who owns Tyreek Hill is dying. I'm waiting for them to say that Tyreek wants to trade out of Miami as well, just like Davante Adams did. If you didn't catch the news, Davante Adams has asked for a trade from the Raiders. Now, if the Davante Adams manager doesn't know, he has been out with a hamstring injury. Okay. He got it in practice. And this is what has been keeping him out. So if the Davante Adams manager is one of those people that need desperately a able-bodied wide receiver, and he's panicking right now, maybe he's sitting at 0-4, maybe he's sitting at 1-3. Go and trade for Davante Adams now. Now, you probably should have done it last week, but this week, go and trade for him. Okay. You could probably get him a lot cheaper than you would if he winds up going to a team like Steelers, the Jets. Imagine Davante Adams back with Aaron Rodgers in New York. And from what I'm hearing, Garrett Wilson is already disgruntled because there's no creativity in that offense. Imagine what's going to happen when Davante Adams gets there. Make the trade now. Okay, guys? Now, there has been some rumor that Kansas City is going to go after Davante Adams. From what I'm hearing, that's not feasible because of monetary issues, but you never know. It's the NFL. Crazy things happen. So, like I said, you want to look ahead for your bye week. You want to acquire early. Okay. And remember, once a player passes their bye week, they become more valuable than those players that haven't. This means that you get one extra week of that player. So if you've got a player coming up on bye that you're thinking about trading away, trade it for somebody that's already passed their bye and get the extra week of usage. All right. So let's see. In my league of record, with the Z League. And this is what week 6 looks like. So, like I said, Aaron Jones, gone. Kareem Hunt, gone. So my opponent has to rely on other guys. He's got 3 players on a bye. Tyler Johnson, Kareem Hunt, Aaron Jones, all on a bye. Now, he might drop Tyler Johnson, but he's not dropping Aaron Jones. He's not dropping Kareem Hunt. So he needs to make room for these guys. I, on the other hand, I have no buys. So I'm good for week 6. Week 6, I'm straight. But let's look at week 7. Week 7. Again, I have no buys. So this is all good. So what do I want to look at? I want to look at my waiver wire, see who's coming up here. So week 5. Now I'll tell you what, let's look at the free league that I'm doing over on Sleeper, because that's more of a traditional lineup. The lineup that I'm playing for my league of record has a couple extra flex spots because we don't play a defense and we don't play a kicker. In this league, we don't play a defense, but we do play a kicker. I think that's right. Let me see. Yeah, we play kicker. We don't play a defense. I think I said that right. So the players that are available on this league are a little deeper. So, for instance, Geno Smith, and I don't know how Sam Darnold is on the waiver wire. So let's go ahead and we'll put a claim in for him. I'm going to show you guys how to put a claim in. You're going to go, let's do this. So actually, you know what, guys? Let's do it like this. I think that Geno Smith is going to be a little better. Now let's look at Geno and we're going to look at who he's got coming up. All right. So he's got the Giants in week 5, San Francisco in week 7, and Atlanta and Buffalo, and then the Rams. Then he gets a bye in week 10. Then he gets San Fran again, New York, decent matchup. But then right after that, it's Arizona, Green Bay, Minnesota, and then Chicago. Now, Chicago is the only one that I would worry about, but I've got Jaden Daniels as my other quarterback, so I'm not really stressed about this. Now, how Geno Smith is still on the waiver and how Sam Darnold is still on the waiver wire here is beyond me. Okay. But I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to select Geno Smith. Now, you see right here where it says bid. This is what we call a FAB budget, a free agent acquisition budget. That's what FAB means. They give you a imaginary amount of money and you bid on players. Now, they start out with $500, and as you can see here, it says 364. So I've spent a little FAB acquiring my free agents. Now, who do I want to drop? I'm going to go down here, and I'm going to drop Andy Dalton because I don't need to roster 3 quarterbacks in a 1 quarterback setting. Now, this is my first time actually dealing with FAB and actually going in. I want to go hard. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to put in a $50 bid for Geno Smith. And I will let you guys know on the next episode whether or not I got him. So he's in. Now let's go ahead and look at the rest of my waiver claims. I have Devontae Wicks at 100. Now I went real hard after him. Now I dropped Yoshiba, so if I go ahead and get that one, I'm not going to be getting this Kareem Hunt one. And matter of fact, I'll go ahead and cancel that right now. So I'm left with Andy Dalton. I'm ditching him for Geno Smith, and then I'm going to go ahead and pick up Devontae Wicks, who with Jordan Love back in Green Bay looked absolutely amazing this past week. Now, the good thing is that Christian Watson is dealing with an injury. So Devontae Wicks has an extra little perk there, a little boost in his production because they're down one more target. So I'm going to get rid of Yoshivas. I'm not really holding on to him because T. Higgins is back. Jamar Chase is still there. So I would need an injury to T. Higgins or to Jamar Chase. I'm going to look at my lineup after waivers run and see if I have room to keep Yoshivas on my roster, or put him back on and see who I have and how things have gone. So we'll take a look at that after waivers run on tomorrow morning. They usually run about 11 o'clock. So when I do my next episode, we'll make sure that we highlight that and give you guys a little peek into my acquisitions that I do personally. So now we talked about Bimageddon week 12 and 14. Week 12, here are the teams that are going to be on buys: the Saints, the Jets, the Bengals, the Bills, the Jags, and the Falcons. Guys, those are some heavy hitting fantasy implication teams. You got, let's see, Olave, Raheed Shaheed with the Saints out, Kamara with the Saints out, with the Jets. At that point in time, maybe they have Devontae Adams, who knows? And then you've got Breece Hall, Garrett Wilson. Those guys are gone. With the Bengals, Jamar, T. Higgins, Zach Moss, Joe Burrow. All those guys are gone. The Bills, James Cook, Josh Allen, out. Khalil Shakir, gone. The Jags have been horrible. So maybe that'd be a blessing unless Doug Peterson's fired by then and they've picked up the slack. So Etienne is gone. Brian Thomas Jr. out. Now, I will tell you right now that I do have one of my leagues where I'm going picking up Tank Bigsby. So, God willing. So we're praying about it. We're praying that Tank Bigsby comes to me because I need that production and that depth at running back, especially if Travis Etienne is done. If they're going away from him and leaning more toward Tank Bigsby. Yeah, you guys know what time it is. Sorry, leaked a little bit. The teeth, guys. It's a process. So, but you guys know what time it is. It's time to talk about Zia Rotisserie Bar. Zia they're at 235 Deuce State Road, Lafayette, Louisiana. And if you go down there, if you're in the Lafayette, Louisiana area and you go by Zia and you subscribe to this channel, so down the bottom right now, take a second, subscribe, like, share, and you show Zia that you subscribe to my channel, you can get for the table one appetizer on me from them. So go down there if you want to take the ribs for a test drive. They got a 4 count, they got a 6 count. Before you dive into the 8 and the 12 that they have for the entree, if you've never had them before, they're absolutely delicious. You got dry rub, you got barbecue, and the Thai ribs are a specialty. Go down there and check those out on me. Maybe you're not wanting ribs, maybe you want something else. The hummus is to die for. Just ask my production team, aka my wife Amanda. She loves the hummus down there. The Mediterranean hummus is off the chain, according to her. And then if you want some seafood, look, we got you covered. We've got the ancho chili shrimp appetizer and Asian almond shrimp appetizer. You're going to get the 6, get the 6. You want to get a 3, get a 3. But definitely get some. They also have those in a dinner form where you get 12, but take it for a test drive. Let the table taste some. You got 3 y'all down there, 4 y'all down there, got, out with some friends. Let everybody try a shrimp. Check it out before you go ahead and commit to it. So down there at Zia, 235 Duce Road, Lafayette, Louisiana, right behind the Grand Theater off of Johnson, in front of Red Laurel's Health Club. Go down there, check them out. And if you are in Lafayette, Louisiana, and you need some catering done, maybe you're doing a charity thing, maybe you're doing a birthday catering, you need some good food, go down there and give them a call, 337-406-0013. Talk to Andy or any of the people that'll pick up that phone and help you out with catering order. They'd be more than happy to do so. They're going to hook you up with some ribs, some chicken. The grits are off the chain. I've said it before. I'll say it again. If I could walk around with some grits in my pocket, I could trade that for just about anything as long as people like grits. So that's how good they are. Go down there, check them out. Trust me. Tell them I sent you, get your free appetizer. So we're going to get in, and then we're talking about week 14 by Denver, the Ravens, guys. If you're relying on Lamar or Derrick Henry to help get you in the playoffs, you better hope you got that spot locked up by week 13. Because week 14, you're going to be out of luck. So, also, you got the Colts, Washington, Patriots, and Texans. So, Jaden Daniels, gone week 14. Brian Robinson, gone week 14. Terry McLaurin, gone. The Patriots, Stevenson, that's probably about it. The Texans, Nico, out. Stephon Diggs, out. Hopefully, Joe Mixon is back and up and running, but CJ Stroud, gone. So all those guys on all those teams, make sure that you're making preparations ahead of time, whether that's a trade away for somebody who maybe they just peaked the week before the bye. If they peaked and you guys think that that's it, that that's as good as they can get, trade them away on a high, okay? You're going to get great value at that time. Look at the rest of the season after the bye. Are they going up against really tough matchups? Maybe they're a middling player that, hey, they're matchup dependent. So if they're matchup dependent, meaning if they're facing a really tough defense or even a middle of the road defense, they're not performing that well. They need a really good matchup in order to perform like you want them to. Trade those guys away on a high. Okay. You guys need help with trading? Hit me down below. Give me your trade ideas, and I will point you in the right direction for getting those trades analyzed, and I'll give you my opinion of what you should do as well. So, getting into the injuries. So, we're dealing with Jonathan Taylor, high ankle sprain. This is something you guys are going to need to keep an eye on. It's supposed to be a mild high ankle sprain. So, he could miss some time. If he does, Trey Sermon is his backup. If you guys have JT, go and add Trey Sermon to your roster. Now, don't expect the Zach Moss experience that we had last year with Jonathan Taylor when he missed time and Zach Moss just went nuclear. Okay. Trey Sermon's not that guy. Okay. So now, if I have to eat those words, trust me, I will. I would love to eat those words because I'm actually going after Trey Sermon in my league of record. But anyway, now, this is one that really, really hurts is Rashee Rice, wide receiver for the Kansas City Chiefs. Really fluky accident, really fluky injury, the way it happened. Possible torn ACL. We'll know a little more a little later in the week. Hopefully, by the time that I do my next episode, we'll have a little more information. We'll go over that. Anthony Richardson dealing with the hip pointer. Now, I talked about this before the season started. I said that if Joe Flacco got in, that Pittman and anybody else that was a receiver for Indianapolis would get a major upgrade. Guys, it happened. Joe Flacco got in, and Pittman probably had his best day of the year. Had over 100 yards. If I'm not mistaken, he had a touchdown. But if with this injury, Anthony Richardson is not supposed to miss any time. Now, this guy was drafted high. He was drafted to be the future of the franchise. They're not going to bench him if he is able to play. It's just not going to happen. So, Joe Flacco is going to be your best bet if you have Pittman or if you have Josh Downs. If you got Pittman, you got Downs, by all means, play them when Joe Flacco plays and maybe bench them when Anthony Richardson plays because it has been horrible with Anthony Richardson. He has not been what we thought he was going to be, what we expected him to be. But this is a hip pointer injury. It's not that serious. He did come out of the game, then he went right back in again. Then he came out again. So they're going back and forth. They're not going to bench him unless he's not able to play. So he's going to need another major, like just really bad injury to get off the field and get out of the way so Joe Flacco can take over this team and actually make Michael Pittman worthy of the draft pick that you had to draft him at. I have already traded him away. I don't want to deal with that headache because I'm not about roller coasters. I don't like them in real life. I don't like them in fantasy football. So I was able to trade him away and get DK. So I got DK Metcalf. I'm happy with that. I'm cool. We talked a little bit about Will Levis. Will Levis is dealing with a shoulder injury. He was supposed to have an MRI today. Like I said, on all these injuries, we're going to know a little more later in the week, but it's definitely something to keep an eye on. George Kittle is listed with a rib injury as listed as day to day. So, guys, if you've got, this is why I tell you, if you've got Jauan Jennings, hang on to him. Okay. Because we got another guy, Ricky Pearsall. You guys remember Ricky Pearsall, the phenomenal rookie wide receiver that the Niners picked this year that was involved in a shooting, got shot in the chest. It was a through and through. So thank God that he was not, one, he was not killed, and two, he was not seriously injured to where he's not going to be able to play. There is no timetable for him to get back in action, but he is expected to get back at some point in time this year. So keep an eye out for that. Raheem Mostert is dealing with a chest injury. He was listed as out this week. So if you had Raheem Mostert thinking that he was going to be able to play, you got a big old goose egg. Sorry. Trey McBride is in concussion protocol right along with my boy Malik Neighbors. Now, the difference being is that McBride had a concussion and he was listed as out this week. So he's already missed time. The concussion for Malik Neighbors happened on Thursday night. The protocol is usually about 8 days. So that's why guys who get a concussion on Sunday can't play the next week unless they might have a Monday night game, and then it's possible for them to get back on the field. But Malik Neighbors got hurt late on Thursday night. They don't play until Sunday. So with that happening, you're going to want to keep an eye out on this week's Friday injury report, and that should tell us when and if Malik Neighbors is going to play. If he is not, fire up Wan'Dale Robinson. He is going to be a PPR machine as he has been. If I'm not mistaken, he is the 5th leading wide receiver in targets behind Malik Neighbors at number 1. He is number 5. That's crazy. So, CMC, before I jump into the CMC thing, Bijan Robinson is dealing with a hamstring, has been limited at practice. Now, this could be simply a thing of they're just taking a precaution, and we'll know a little something a little closer to Thursday night. But he is playing Thursday night, so this is something we're going to need to keep an eye on. and we hopefully will know his status on Wednesday. So when we hear about his status, I'll go ahead and we'll go over this on Thursday's episode when I do that one. I'm going to try to do that one a little earlier so I can get it up and ready for you guys, and we can head into week 5 as one united front and face this bye week together. So, CMC, guys, the saga continues. This has been the worst pick you could possibly have made, because CMC went 101 in probably about 80% of drafts. For those who didn't take CMC 101, he went 102 or 103. So he went really high. You spent a lot of draft capital on CMC, and he is dealing with tendonitis, not in one, but in both Achilles. So if you are trying to trade away CMC, unless your fellow managers are somewhere where their head's stuck in the ground, or they're cut off from all civilization and have no internet access, they already know this and they're not going to trade you. My best advice on CMC is to hold tight, start praying, and just keep him on your IR spot. You could always do the unthinkable and just drop him and let someone else deal with that headache. But word out of Niners camp is that he will be back early November. However, if he is back, look for him to be limited and managed in his workload. I do see Jordan Mason taking a little bit of a dip if and when CMC gets back. But there's going to be a chance for re-injury throughout the time that he's going to be on the field. So it could be as simple as a pass blocking assignment, or it could be as something as easy as running on and off the field that could trigger this and just send him out. And if he goes down, if he feels any kind of discomfort, they're going to pull him and they're going to try to get to the playoffs without him in the regular season. Now, remember, I said this earlier in the year, and I will remind you again, these are NFL teams. They play football for a living. They play it for real. They don't play fantasy. They don't care about your team. They don't care that you drafted CMC that high and you're not getting a return on your investment. They don't care. So keep that in mind when you're trying to either trade or make a decision either way about CMC. If you're trying to trade for him, I probably wouldn't. I made a couple of inquiries earlier, but the majority of my deals had CMC and someone else. So I was offering like Isaiah Pacheco and somebody else for CMC and like George Pickens. Okay. I wanted Pickens. I could care less about CMC. He can sit on my bench. I'll trade him away to somebody who thinks that he's going to be back and he's going to be, this league winning running back like he's always been. So make sure, or I'll start wrapping up here. But before we do, you guys know I got to mention my sweetest sponsor ever on this channel. That's my boy Dusty Shores with Keller's Bakery at 627 Lafayette Street down in Youngsville, Louisiana. Guys, if you're in the Youngsville, Louisiana area, actually, if you're anywhere in that vicinity, please go down and check them out at 627 Lafayette Street. It's Keller's Bakery. And just like with Zia, if you show them that you subscribe, so if you haven't already, if you didn't know the last time we talked about Zia, do it now. Down the bottom, subscribe, like, share, hit the notification button so you know when I put out new content, and show them that you subscribe, and you can get, without purchase, 2 free cookies. Look, the teeth, I will still chomp down some chocolate chip cookies. I'm telling you right now, they're not that hard. Actually, they're not hard at all. Come to think of it, they're very soft, very chewy. I love them to death. And I would take these things out and gum them if I have to. But they are delicious. Go down there, check them out. I told you before at the draft, I had the sugar cookie. That was delicious, but I'm always partial to the chocolate chip. Love it to death. Um, Go down there, tell them Neil sent you, show them that you subscribe, and they will hook you up. And if you are from out of town, if you are thinking about going through South Louisiana, make sure you stop by, because you might have heard of this thing called a king cake, and you might have been told that you can only get a king cake during Mardi Gras season. Don't nobody else make king cake except Mardi Gras season. False. I will tell you right now, false. Go back and watch my episode with Dusty, and he showed you through the bakery. He showed you behind the scenes where the magic happens, and he showed you that they do make king cakes year round as long as they're open, Tuesday through Saturday, 6 a.m. to 3 p.m. Give them a call, check them out. It's Keller's Bakery in Youngsville, and order your king cake anytime you got a hankering for one. I know I love them. And if you look, guys, we got the holiday season literally right around the corner. We got Halloween, then we're right into Thanksgiving. There is no pie that will grace my Thanksgiving Day table if it does not come from Keller's Bakery. Now, this year, I will tell you right now, I'll tell my wife, but I plan on getting two kinds. We'll always get the pecan because the family loves the pecan pie, but we're going to get another one because Daddy wants a different kind of pie this year. Okay. Teeth are a little sensitive to the nuts, you know what I mean? But check them out. I'll let you guys know what I'm deciding a little closer to Thanksgiving. And who knows, we might even show you, and we'll go live for Thanksgiving, show you guys a little spread or something as we prep for Thursday football here in this house. So show you guys the turkey, and also look, we go all out. I'm telling you right now, it's going to be off the chain. Just wait. So that's Keller's Bakery, guys. Going into week 5, remember, bye weeks are starting. Injuries happen all the time. Trades can happen at any time. So make those acquisitions, make those waiver claims. If you deal with a fab budget, make sure that you're budgeting correctly. Look, the more money you spend, the earlier, the more usage you get out of that player. Now, if you decide to trade that player away, try to make sure that you're getting enough value. If you don't think that his value is going to come around, look, try to trade him, package him, something. If you've got a question, down below. That's what the comments are for, guys. That's why I turned them on. That's why I got them. Hit me up. And also, if you're in Lafayette, Louisiana, don't forget to go and check out Ami's Groceries at 603 Jefferson Street inside of Gordon Square. Go down there and check them out. They have over 200 local items from over 50 local vendors. You want some farm fresh eggs? Go down there and check them out. They got that. You want some freeze-dried candy? They got that too. Matter of fact, with Downtown Alive starting, they're stocking up on the freeze-dried candy. I just talked to him today. Bradley down at Amis is stocking up on the freeze-dried candy. Make sure you go down there and get you some. If you need beef, you need pork, they got it. And if you've ever had a muffalata in New Orleans and you're missing it and you're in Lafayette, go down to Amis. They will hook you up with the mini sliders about that big. They're delicious. My wife loves them. I love them. Go down there and check them out. If you're hungry, go down there. Their menu changes daily, so check them out. They do amazing lunch specials. Go down there and tell them that Neil from Faith and Football sent you, and tell Bradley I said hi when you go down there. Okay, guys? So remember, didn't want to be too harsh with you guys, but I'm letting you know. Make sure that while you're going through your day-to-day, the same way that you deal with those mediocre players that you kind of really don't mind if you have or you don't have, they're kind of, yeah, it's whatever on your roster. Don't treat the people that you just meet day to day in your everyday life the same way. Give them a little love. Give them a little more attention. Let's be intentional in our loving of others. Okay, guys? So remember, sometimes the only Jesus that people see is the Jesus in you and me. Now, it's not from me, that's from Jesse Duplantis. I don't know if he's trademarked that yet or not, but he probably should. I know it's an old saying, but I hear it a lot from Jesse. So, guys, remember, show the love. And while you're at it, show the love down there. Subscribe, like, and share. I'd love to have this channel just be more popular and reach more people. That's what I'm here for. That's what I don't get paid to do this. This is not a money-making thing for me. This is a ministry, and that's how I view it. So thank you for viewing. Thank you for hanging around with me. And if you got any start sit questions, make sure you hit me up, because that's going to be our next episode on Thursday morning. We're going to be putting that out there, so it'll probably hit you somewhere about Thursday afternoon. But until then, guys, remember, football is great or good, but God is greater. So we'll see you guys next time on Faith in Football. Take care.